Overnight, we got numbers out of China, their first look at what's been happening with their economy. Retail sales were down by 20%. You're looking at record low consumption numbers. And now we just got a terrible print on the latest Empire State manufacturing data here in the United States. Rick Santelli is standing by in Chicago. And Rick, walk us through it.
Well, obviously, it's an old number in so many ways. We all know that. But minus 21.5 is the worst level in 11 years for Empire, which takes you back to maybe minus 33.7 in March of 09. And there's only one number worse. That was the previous month, which is the all-time 20-year low in that series at minus 34. So we have our GPS. But the issue of whether we're looking at Chinese data or ultimately Japanese data or German data or any of the car data, we know it's going to be impaired, and it's going to be impaired in a big way. We've seen what the Fed is trying to do. We've seen coordination with other central banks. The Bank of Japan and the ECB did not lower rates, which I find interesting and I think hopeful in certain ways. As for how this is all going to affect the markets, consider this. Right now, our yield's 34 in a two-year note. The low intraday for all maturities was 1 week ago on the 9th, which was 24 for a 2-year. It was 31 for a 10-year. It was 69 for a 30-year. We need to keep these in mind because we really can't garner much information. The curve's flattening a little bit. We're down a few basis points more on a 10-year than we are on the 15 or 16 basis points we're on down on a 2-year. But in the end, whether the Fed is going to buy, whether they're going to tweak, keeping the gears going is the only thing that matters. I can't really tell you much about rates. It's not a financial crisis. It's no money coming in. How are companies going to last, and how will they differentiate between the zombies that shouldn't get money and the ones that really need it? There's some complicated questions there. Becky, back to you.
Rick, what are you hearing about the stresses on the market, on the Treasury market today?
You know, I think the stresses are going to be around. It's impossible for them not to be, but I don't think that the stresses are beyond any expectations for many who've been observing these markets for many decades. The Fed has 2 big cans of grease for the gears, probably more than we need. The whole notion of quantitative easing, there's going to be plenty of buyers. It's just that there's not plenty of buyers and sellers at every given moment, and I think the Fed is there to address those in the big picture.